The end is nigh, Brick Fanatics. A very important moment on the LEGO calendar is fast approaching. We have just over a month before a bunch of LEGO sets retire forever. Just in case this is your first time watching one of these videos, a retired LEGO set is one that the LEGO Group has ceased manufacturing and so will not be producing any more stock for. In my house, we have had the problem before where a certain smaller LEGO fan may have watched an LEV Toys video or something by CC Trooper 27 and seen a particular minifigure or set that they think, I absolutely have to have that. And you look and you're like, this thing retired 5 to 10 years ago. There is absolutely no chance of me being able to afford this. But the LEGO Group needs to retire sets in order to make space for other new sets, and we've seen something of a churn recently. This year in particular, we've seen sets retiring quite quickly, or at least scheduled for retirement quite quickly after actually debuting on store shelves. And it looks like the LEGO Group is trying a bit of a scattergun approach here, throwing out a bunch of sets and then very quickly retiring any that don't do particularly well. The LEGO Group does tend to shift this schedule around over the course of the year, bringing forward some retirement dates and then lengthening some other ones, depending, I imagine, on how well a set sells. There are not a lot of changes this month. Just for the benefit of those who are keeping track, we will just mention them very quickly up top, but then I want to go through all of the sets that are going to be retiring by July 31st, 2025. These sets don't have an awful lot of time left on store shelves, and it's not the case that they will definitely be available right up until the 31st of July, at which point the LEGO Group burns all remaining stock. Some of them are going to retire sooner than that, depending on when the LEGO Group actually ceases manufacturing, and some of them will stick around a little bit longer, depending on what leftover stock happens to be available in particular local stores. In the lead up to the last big retirement date for a bunch of LEGO sets, many LEGO fans were left disappointed when certain key sets had disappeared before Black Friday sales were available. To that end, it is well worth bearing in mind right now which sets might start disappearing sooner rather than later, so that you don't end up being left in the lurch. As I go through this list, if you do feel like you desperately need to get hold of any of these LEGO sets before they retire, do make sure that you use the affiliate link which is down in the description, or the QR code that is right there on screen. They take you straight to the LEGO website and we get a percentage of the sale when you purchase through those links. It's just a nice little way of supporting the channel, won't cost you a penny extra. Now I'm going to go through every LEGO set that will be retiring by the end of July of this year. I'm not going to cover all of the sets retiring by December because we've done a previous video on that, and closer to that retirement date, we'll do another video with the updated list in whatever form it is at that time. First though, the following LEGO set was scheduled for retirement December 2026 and has been moved forward to December 2025. 40720 Mini Disney Sleeping Beauty Castle. I'm probably not going to lose a lot of Sleeping Beauty, over this set retiring a little bit earlier, especially given that 40478 Mini Disney Castle is still going to be sticking around until 2026, and they're very, very similar. I mean, there's slight differences in colour with this one, and it's got Sleeping Beauty as a minifigure rather than Mickey Mouse. It's a nice one for anyone who likes these mini castles and wants a little mini Disneyland all of their own, but I do feel like the one that's not retiring quite as soon is probably the stronger of these two anyway. It's not all doom and gloom though, because sometimes a LEGO set gets a reprieve and ends up retiring a little bit later than initially scheduled. So the following LEGO set was going to retire by the end of this year is now going to be retiring by the end of December 2026. 40817 Yellow Travel Suitcase. It's difficult to figure out a rhyme or a reason to all of the LEGO Group's choices with retiring sets, but I do wonder if this one has been impacted somewhat by the fact that people are really going for these upscaled brick-built minifigures. We've had a few of these now, they're all proving quite popular, especially a little baby astronaut gift with purchase that I wish was just a little bit cheaper on eBay. And it just so happens that this travel suitcase is the perfect scale to go alongside those minifigures. So if you happen to have been considering it, don't worry, it's not necessarily going to disappear straight away. It will be continuing into 2026 unless the LEGO Group updates their schedule again, which, I mean, it could happen, you never know. Alright, all of that out of the way, shall we talk about the sets that are retiring at the end of July of 2025? Sets that are retiring in just over a month from when I am making this video. Yes, let's do that. Marvel. The following Marvel sets will be retiring at the end of next month. Unless you're watching this in September, in which case, too late. 76278 Rockets Warbird vs. Ronan. 76284 Green Goblin construction figure. I've mentioned before I do quite like that Green Goblin construction figure, pays homage to the earliest of LEGO tie-in sets that weren't Star Wars, with a wonderful set that I had back in the day. I think I've still got parts of it somewhere. Here it is. As a teenager, I decided to colour in the head with a silver marker because I thought it looked cool, but otherwise, yeah, this thing is one of the funkiest minifigures from the early 2000s that I just thought was so cool. And it would be brilliant to have another one again. In the meantime, we've got this construction figure that is something, but as said, it is going to be retiring very soon. Ninjago! The following one Ninjago set will retire by the end of next month. 71815 Kai's Source Dragon Battle. This is one of the 4+ Ninjago sets. There are a few more of these out there. My personal favourite is 71831 Ninja Spinjitzu Temple, but there's a few of these. They're very useful for a particular kind of LEGO Ninjago fan that might be a little bit younger or might need something that's a little bit more tactile and easier to put together with larger, chunkier bricks. It's interesting, the Ninjago theme at the moment, because on the one hand, you've got these 4+ sets, which are great for anybody, not just those who are actually 4 years old. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got these bigger, larger teenage plus sets, which I think are absolutely fantastic. It's wonderful to see the theme meeting so many different needs across such a wide spectrum. But you do get the sense that bit by bit, the Ninjago audience is maybe kind of just leaning a little bit older. And that is reflected in these larger sets. It's good that they have these 4+ sets as well, though, and hopefully these will continue for a very long time because, as said, they don't just serve the needs of 4-year-olds. They're also really great for people who, for various different other reasons, might need a slightly simpler or slightly easier to hold LEGO set. Dreams. The following one Dreams set will retire by the end of next month. 71481 Izzy's Dream Animals. Dreams is in a weird place at the moment. I don't really know what to think of this because, with the exception of this one set that is retiring by the end of next month, everything else, bar the sets that only just released at the start of this month, will be retiring at the end of 2025. So, with the exception of that handful of brand new sets, everything will be gone. And for a while it did look like Dreams might just be ceasing entirely, that the LEGO Group might be moving on to some other kind of different theme. But we do have that new little crop of sets, so I guess it's continuing, but just bear in mind that unless it is brand spanking new, everything here is still scheduled for retirement by the end of this year. And this one set that is going to be retiring in July is the first of many to go. This is the harbinger, so to speak. Super Mario. The following Super Mario LEGO sets will retire by the end of July. 71431 Bowser's Muscle Car, 71433 Goomba's Playground, 71434 Soda Jungle Maker Set. Of all of the LEGO sets on this entire list, Bowser's Muscle Car is the one that is the most tempting for me, the one that I think I'm going to be the most sad to see retire. But at the same time, I'm just kind of done with Nintendo at the moment and a lot of their anti-consumer practices, so I'm not really going to go out of my way to give them my custom. There's other, better, nicer LEGO sets on the market anyway. Nevertheless, if you are giving Nintendo your patronage, the Switch 2 just launched, there's a brand new Mario Kart game out, Mario Kart Lego is a big thing at the moment, and this LEGO set would go very well alongside some of those Mario Kart sets. Creator 3-in-1. The following one LEGO set, but it can also be 3 builds, will retire by the end of July of this year. 31139 Cozy House. I always like a Creator 3-in-1 house. I think that these are really nice buildings. I love that you can buy 3 copies of them and make 3 different buildings and put them all on a street together. This one is perhaps not the most exciting one. I really loved like the toy shop from a few years ago, but it's still perfectly serviceable. If you're the kind of person who would love to have a little Lego cityscape or a little Lego village, but you don't have the space or the funds necessary for something like a modular building street, you can get these Creator 3-in-1 houses and they will work very well as a kind of substitute or a smaller alternative. If that is you, just bear in mind that this one is on the way out. It's got quite a nice colour scheme to it. It would work very well alongside some other buildings of this kind of scale, but Homes Under the Hammer style, it's gone. Speed Champions. The following one Speed Champions set will retire by the end of next month. 76919 2023 McLaren Formula 1 car. I mean, this one just makes sense, doesn't it? We've more recently had the release of 77251 McLaren Formula 1 Team MCL38 race car. You don't need that many Speed Champions McLaren Formula 1 cars on the market at the same time, so the 2023 model is retiring. That said, if you're the kind of person who likes to collect absolutely every single Speed Champions set, you have been warned this one is about to cross the finish line. Disney. The following 3 Disney sets will retire by the end of next month. 43240 Maleficent's Dragon Form, 43246 Disney Princess Market Adventure, 43276 Snow White's Jewellery Box. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but for 2025 the LEGO Group has been focusing on villains for their Disney mini doll sets rather than on the traditional Disney princesses. And as such, when these LEGO sets retire, we're going to be losing a few Disney princess mini dolls that otherwise won't be available in the LEGO catalogue. If you or somebody you know desperately wants to have a full collection of LEGO mini dolls, there are plenty of these available on the aftermarket from a lot of different sets. But the one I want to highlight in particular is Tiana in the Princess Market set, simply because there's not been quite as many of her in a lot of these sets as there have been of various other different Disney princesses. Tiana was very late to get the mini doll treatment in general, and has typically, not always, but typically only shown up in rather larger sets with a bunch of different other mini dolls as well, which means that she is a little bit more difficult to get hold of on the aftermarket. Snow White 2 is also not the easiest mini doll to get hold of, and it is interesting to see this LEGO set retiring, considering that 2025 has seen the release of a new Snow White movie for Disney, but I guess that one didn't really set the world on fire, and so is just being quietly shuffled to the side. Classic. Finally, the last set to be retiring in July of 2025 comes from the LEGO Classic theme, which are just big old boxes of LEGO bricks for those who like things old school. The retiring set is 11035 Creative Houses. It is nice. It is currently on back order from the LEGO website in the UK, but you can probably find it somewhere else, and probably for a bit of a discount, because £50 does seem like a lot for this set, but hey, it's 2025 and that's LEGO. And that is every single LEGO set that will be retiring by the 31st of July 2025. If there is anything there that you feel you desperately need to get your hands on, just bear in mind that time is limited. There are two more things that I did want to mention before wrapping up this video though. First is that the collectible race cars that are out in the little collectible minifigure boxes at the moment will be retiring by the end of the 31st of August 2025. So there's a little bit of time left on those, a little bit more than any of the other sets that we've mentioned. Just bear in mind they're going to disappear if that is something that you're interested in. And finally, with regards to the Nike Dunk Lego set, we had a comment on the video for that set where someone was asking, is that one going to be a limited edition? Because Nike, or Nike, however you want to say it, has a tendency to release something in very limited numbers or for a very short period of time, and then it's very difficult to get hold of it afterwards. No, good news, according to the LEGO Group's internal retirement schedule right now, 43008 Nike Dunk will retire by the 31st of December 2027. So we've got a couple of years for that set. As said, the retirement schedule does tend to shift around, so there's no guarantee that it'll definitely last until that moment and no later or earlier, but just, it's okay. You don't need to worry about that particular LEGO set disappearing very quickly. You don't necessarily need to pre-order it or make sure that you could definitely get hold of a copy, and you absolutely, definitely don't need to pay scalper prices for it if you can't get hold of it otherwise, because that set is going to go out to a wide audience. It is going to be widely available. It is not one that is going to disappear very quickly. It is not a limited edition. With all of that said, which of these LEGO sets are you going to be picking up before they retire? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, make sure that you do all of the rest of the YouTube things. Give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe and the notification bell. Do make sure that you go to brickfanatics.com for coverage of all things LEGO, and make sure that you sign up to our newsletter so that you never miss anything LEGO related ever again. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.